I'm gonna redo my intro. Hey guys, it's me, Rihanna from Snailworks Crochet, and in today's video, I am going to be making a tapestry for Chinese New Year, or the Lunar New Year. For reference, I've been wanting to make a tapestry for a while. I actually said so in my goals video, but contrary to what I initially believed, designing a tapestry is a lot more complex than I initially anticipated, because the first time ever that I tried to crochet a tapestry, I wanted to make like a moon phases kind of grid. It was a mess. It was terrible. I mistakenly thought that I could upload a photo into Stitch Fiddle and it would just spit out a tapestry. That was pretty naive of me, to be honest, because one, when I did that, it spit out a grid, but the grid was like this big, and I was initially planning on this thing to be a bag. So that was a huge fail. And then I kind of just gave up on tapestries after that. Now I've done some pattern testing. I've done more tapestries in general that I feel a little bit more confident designing a tapestry now. So I'm going to do that, and it's going to be for the Lunar New Year. Skip to this video of me explaining some of my inspirations and also the meaning and all that. By the time you see this video, it should be soon to the Lunar New Year. I actually celebrate the Lunar New Year to some extent, and by that I mean my parents give me money. And I'm actually thinking of sending some money to my boyfriend's nephews because they called me auntie during Christmas. Now I'm sending money, which, oh, that's weird. But for the sake of Lunar New Year, I wanted to incorporate crochet into Lunar New Year. So if you happen to have Chinese friends or friends who celebrate the Lunar New Year, a lot of them will have this wall hanging in their home around that time. This is Fu, which means luck. And the reason why you might happen to see a lot of this in Chinese households is because I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, and essentially sometimes you might see it right side up, sometimes you might see it upside down. I believe somebody explained to me why it's upside down. The reason why it might be upside down is because saying 福到了, which means luck has come. That word 到, which means has arrived, has come, sounds a lot like the Chinese word for upside down, 到. So sometimes they will hang luck upside down to represent that luck has come. It's Chinese wordplay. I'm like first, second, depending on your definition, first, second generation Chinese American. So my knowledge on like the actual lore is a little bit shaky. Now, to bring this back to crochet, I actually want to make this wall hanging. Unfortunately, I kind of already did that off camera. I essentially found a photo of the character Fu, and then in my editing software, I, changed the orientation of the character to be more diagonal, so that way it's more diagonal on the screen. And then I uploaded that photo to Stitch Fiddle, played around with it, cleaned it up, and with that I made a chart. I started crocheting it already, and let me show you what I have done so far. I've done this so far. I'm like 12 rows in. Oh boy, all these makeshift bobbins I made are very, very messy. I'm using the Hobby Lobby I Love This cotton to make this because I have it on hand, and the color works nicely. But yeah, this is what I have done so far, so I think I'm gonna work on this a little bit and watch videos.
I have very recently gotten into tapestry crochet, okay? And now I'm kind of obsessed with it. And I decided to give Big Twist Value a go. Normally I do Michael's Impeccable acrylic yarn.
The thing I've always hated about tapestry anything is just how tangled all my yarn gets. But I'm getting pretty far along on this. It's starting to look pretty good. I'm about halfway through. Yeah, there's 50 rows total. I'm halfway. Here's my progress for anyone curious. I have about 8 rows left. I think my tension is very tight that I'm gonna have to block it into a square. The character is coming out real nice. And so basically, as you can see here, it'll eventually be like this. And I'm hoping to add like a border around, and it'll be like one of those hangings you see for Chinese New Year. So, update. I finished my graph. Unfortunately, it is not very square. I'm realizing, you know, a lot of this has to do with the fact that my tension is tight, but I think there might be some wiggle room. We'll see. I recently bought some blocking boards a while back, and I think I'm gonna try and block it and see if I need to add some extra rows. I'm really hoping I don't, but this is not looking very square. Okay, seeing it laid out a little bit, I think it has potential to stretch. It's definitely wider this way than it is tall. And again, tight tension, right? But because it's supposed to be diagonal, you need some extra length. I think there's potential if I block it. So that's good. I essentially need to stretch this to here. And I think that's possible. I genuinely do. I think I'm going to have to add a extra row to make it 51 rows instead of 50. This is something I'm realizing when it comes to tapestries, is that tapestries work best with odd number rows. So I might have to adjust my pattern to be an odd number. I'll have to make the square like 49 by 49 versus, or 51 by 51 versus 50 by 50, which is what it is. I will go and make edits to the tapestry pattern, and then I will, you know, edit the row and add the border. Okay, so the plan I have for this tapestry, because this is my very first design, I also want to try releasing a written pattern for this as well, but I don't really want to do pattern testing because that sounds like a lot of work, honestly, and I don't want to do that right now. I am not in the mental space where I want to be coordinating a tester call and all that. So my compromise, at least to myself, is that I will release a written pattern for the sake of, you know, having done it and like working out the kinks. But because I've never done this type of thing before, I'm going to release it for free on Ko-fi. So in my eyes, it is unfair for me to put out my very first written crochet pattern and charge money for it without even at minimum getting it pattern tested, because I have never done this before. So I think for me, I want to release this grid for free because I think it would be very nice. And that way I can kind of experiment with how to format the pattern while also not getting the pushback of people being upset and feeling ripped off by a poorly written pattern. You welcome more criticism once you start charging money for it. So I think this time around, when I make this pattern, I want to not charge money for it because I'm scared, frankly. That won't be the case for the next pattern I release, but I think for this pattern, it is better overall for me to release it for free, specifically because I don't know what I don't know, and I want to kind of work out the kinks of even making these patterns, or even if I even want to do this in the future. I know in my goals video, I put that I wanted to write a pattern, and you know, I'm doing it now, but I don't know what I don't know, and if I absolutely hate doing this, then I won't make it again. But if I like it, then I can take some of the lessons that I learned doing this and, you know, apply them to any future patterns that I do and maybe whatever lessons I take from this, I can at least justify charging money for the next pattern I release, if that happens. Caveat, if that happens. Okay guys, I just finished my border and, you know, added on a little hanging here. Now I just need to weave in this hot mess of all my ends and block it, and it should be good. You don't need these, but I've been eyeing them for a while, so might as well take advantage of it. Now we just wait for this to dry, and I think I might want to buy some felt as well to back this. And then after that, I think we should be good. Oh yeah, that looks so much better. I opted to not get the felt backing because I was lazy, but look at this. It still looks really good, especially if you just hang it up like this. And I think it looks really good. Now I'm gonna finish up the pattern and I should be able to get this done this weekend. Okay, I finally finished my pattern. I downloaded it. It is now posted on Ravelry and Coffee. So if you want to check that out, feel free to go down to the links below and check it out. But writing a pattern is hard. I don't even think I did that good of a job because I wanted it to be pretty, but I also wanted it to be a proper pattern, and I'm a little bit creatively bankrupt when it comes to arranging things, hence why my room is such a mess. I think how it looks is pretty good. I'm satisfied. It's definitely good for a first pattern. Is it like the best written crochet tapestry pattern? Probably not, but I think what is helping me a bunch is that I just provided a link to the stitch fiddle graph, and you know, we're good. I made sure to test out the links and stuff, and they do work. You can tell me whether I did a good job or not, or if this thing is absolutely hot garbage. My personal interpretation is that it's not the best pattern in the world, but it's also free. So it's like you win some, you lose some, right? I do think in the future, if I were to make another tapestry pattern, one, I need to actually suck it up and buy Stitch Fiddle Premium, because I think the biggest con to my pattern personally is the fact that the chart itself is not the highest quality. I don't think it's unreadable per se, but the limitations of basic Stitch Fiddle don't allow me to download the highest res pattern graph. So I think if I am going to make another tapestry crochet pattern, I need to have a higher quality chart. In this pattern, I provided a link to the chart so that way you can follow on Stitch Fiddle itself. But I think I just need to bite the cost of Stitch Fiddle Premium next time. And again, another premium feature that I think I'm personally missing out on my pattern is, I think it's the stitch chart. I think that written out stitch chart would be very helpful for a lot of other people who don't want to use the grid. With the fact that I have basic Stitch Fiddle, I don't have the capability to download that chart. Additionally, I do know that I am a right-handed crocheter, and so I've created this as a right-hand crochet chart. However, I do know I am 100% excluding left-handed crocheters with this chart, and I think I should be a little bit better about that for any new patterns I design later on, is to at least include a left-handed perspective. That being said, it's free. So I think overall, it was definitely interesting doing this. In the future, I do want to try making a more robust pattern testing process, but I just did not want to do that for this, honestly. So, and again, because I didn't want to do that, I am making it free. With that, I will conclude my video here. And if you liked watching this and you enjoyed kind of watching my thought process, my design process, and just how I did it overall, leave a like or a comment, or if you want, feel free to subscribe for more. And with that, I will see you next time. Bye!